Right, welcome back to Higgsy's Man Cave, TS400, and today we're going to be putting the forks back together. So I've done a little bit more work on the bike, which I'll show you in a bit, but today we're going to put the forks back together. So I've got finally, my new stanchions have arrived, brand new stanchions, so that's good. That's what I've been waiting for, that's what the bike's been waiting for. So the fork legs, they were pretty manky. I've taken them to work, I've vapor blasted them, then Scotch-Brite wheeled them to give that nice brushed finish, and then clear lacquer. So we're gonna put the new seals in and put these forks back together. Right, so we've got the seal in. We're ready to build the fork leg. So first thing is we need to get the old stanchion and remove the valve stopper, or whatever the hell you call it. So we take the circuit out, and then we just pull that out, and the valve body just doesn't want to come out. Doesn't want to come out. Typical. Get rid of the swader. Right, there's my little swader. So that goes back on. So that's the valve assembly removed from the old one. So that's the old damper rod, circlip removed and damper body removed. So then we get our new fork stanchion and then do that in reverse. So as you can see, there's a step in there, and there's also a groove for the circlip, so you can't go in too far. So it's the valve body first. So that goes in there, and the valve body with the shims, that goes in there, that goes on, and then oops. Defeated by a circlip. It's always the simplest things, isn't it? Right, get on, you twat. There you go. Just make sure it turns so it is in the groove. Yep, that turns. That's in the groove. So that's the valve assembly body in the new fork stanchion. About time. Right, so let's build the fork. So the first thing that goes in is the damper rod assembly with the threaded part going down. So that goes in and sticks out the bottom. Then you get the cap, which goes on the end of it, which has to be removed to get it out because it won't go out otherwise. And we'll just tap that off. So that's the little cap that goes onto it, and then you have to tap it down to make sure that the threads are showing, so that you can be It can be gripped at the other end. So that's that. So that can now be put into the new fork. So there's the fork bottom. There's the bolt. I'll just give that a bit of a wipe to make sure there's nothing horrible on there. And that should go on there. I'm ready to go on my big gun. Right, so that needs to go in there now. So bit of grease around the new fork seals. Okay, fork goes in there. Fork slides in. Right, that's right in. And the bolt. I can just see it's lined up, so I'll just see if I can start the threads. Nope. That was one to start. So probably the best thing to do is to drop the spring in it to push it in. So I'll just put the spring in, tight curls at the top, and that'll just push it down. And hopefully it will enable me to get this nut, which is covered in grease, to start. Yeah, I got it to start, I think. The best thing here is to apply a bit of pressure to the spring so it holds it down. Push it into there, and then boom! That gun's great for that job. You could spend hours messing about with a ratchet. Boom, it's in and it's tight. Great, so that's that. So that's that in. Don't forget to put the drain screw back in with this little, it's got a little seal on it as well. So I'll put the drain screw back in. So that's it. So we've got the spring in it. So we're now ready to put the oil in and put the cap on it. So there's the cap. There's the cap, but before we put that in, we need to put the oil in. So 255 cc's of fork oil. And if you watched my videos before, you'll know that I always use 2-stroke oil. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to use 2-stroke oil. I know you're supposed to use fork oil, but this is straight 30 2-stroke oil instead of 10s or 15 weights. So it's a lot thicker. So it gives you a lot more damping, which I like. And it's my bike, so I'll put what I want in. But I put it in all of them. I put it in every one of these old 2-strokes. It works great. It works great. You can actually feel a little bit of damping. I mean, the damping is so pathetically weak, standard. Just a little bit of that, just to bleed the valve, the damping valve at the bottom. Yep. Yeah, that's working nicely. So straight on with the fork top, and it's got a seal on it. It's a 22mm socket. So I'll just get that out. Get the big bad windy gun. Boom. Get the, oops. I have got some new fork stanchion rubbers, but they came as a kit, but they're not right. They're not the right length. And these are the originals, and they're not bad. They're not that bad, so they're going back on. It would look a bit odd if you put those other ones on, because they're too short. It would look a little bit odd. So there we go. So there you go. There we have. You can even hear it. You can even hear the damping, which is good. So that's it. That's one fork leg done. I'll crack on and do the other one. You don't need to. I don't need to video me doing the second one because it's exactly the same as that. And then we'll the next little clip will be shoving the forks back in. I've already got the handlebars here, and I've been trying to do a bit of work while I've been waiting for the fork stanchions.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
I don't want your help, thanks Alexa. But thanks anyway. Yeah, so I put while I was waiting, I've done the switch gear. I put the new grips on. I've got the clutch perch and the brake perch on there. So, and there's the top yoke, all waiting to go on. So it should be quite a quick process sticking all the forks back in when I've done the other one. So I'll do that one and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, here we are again. TS400. So, as you can see, I did the other fork. I've done the other fork, rebuilt it all, just like the last one, which you saw me do. Shoved it in there, and I've chucked the front wheel on. I'm particularly pleased with the way the front hub looks now, as it's all been polished and zinced and all that kind of stuff. You can really see with the stay bar there, all zinced, everything. It looks really good. It makes all the difference zinking the stuff. Even the original Suzuki Bolt with the castellated nut on the back of the split pin. It looks really good. So I've done a few other little jobs that you might not have noticed. I don't think I filmed myself putting the oil tank on, but the plate underneath the oil tank, that's been zinced, so that's been put back on. Oil tank's been all cleaned out, and that's been put on. Nice new strap. I did have the original one, but it was a bit floppy, and these are about £3. So I've got one. I've got one of those. So that's the oil tank on. I've put the cable adjuster on for the oil pump. I've put the tacho cable on, but I've no clocks yet, so just located it. But yeah, putting the forks on was the main thing, and I've got the wiring all neatly in the right order, and the battery is now in place and all that kind of stuff. So there's still a long way to go. I've decided to give up on the paintwork. I was going to try and do it myself, but I'm no painter, and I don't want to be, I want it done right, so I've sent it off to Kev, a Dream Machine. Good old Kev at Dream Machine. Anything I don't want to do, he does it, but it's done properly then. You know, if you send it to Dream Machine, he's done loads of bikes for me before, and they're always perfect, they're always 100% perfect, so why not? So I'm just waiting for that now. But today I'm going to put the forks, the handlebars on, sorry. Like I said, I've already sort of pre-assembled the handlebars with the switch gear on and all that kind of stuff because I was waiting for the forks. So I'm just going to drop that on now. Let's just lower the whole thing down. Get my foot out. Still got my slippers on. Mind you, it is 6:20 in the morning. Right, so handlebars. Let's try and get the nuts sorted. Oh yeah, I found a supplier for the brake shoes. The brake shoes were pretty shitty, so I used the best ones, and they're not available anymore. So I used the best ones in the front. These were the scruffy ones. Sorry, I used the best ones in the back, and these are the ones that were left for the front. But after a bit of research, I managed to match them up and find that they are still available, but under a different part number from a different supplier. And I've got them, so I've got plenty in stock. So I've got brand new brake shoes, which I've put in the front now. So they're spot on. So at some time in the future, next time that back wheel comes out, I'll replace them and put brand new shoes in the back. So, yeah, brand new shoes. Right, handlebars. So, clamp, clamp, bolt, bolt, bolt. Handlebars. Ready assembled with the switch gear and the cables. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. The switch gear, I was going to say I vapor blasted, but I haven't vapor blasted them. Or because they're not painted, they're just aluminium, I've just put them on the Scotch-Brite wheel. Put them on the Scotch-Brite wheel. Lost my words this morning. The clutch perch and the brake perch, I have vapor blasted. I've took those to work and I've vapor blasted them. But the switch gear, I just put them on the Scotch-Brite wheel because there's no paint on them anyway. They're just bare aluminium. So I just carefully put them on the Scotch-Brite wheel and they look great. Cup of tea. 14, 13, 12 mil for these bolts. It's starting to look like a motorbike now. Try and get this in the middle. Get the handlebars to line up. That's it. I can always do some adjustment later on. But boom, there's the handlebars. New handlebars. Right, there we are, there's the handlebars. So I can start routing all this stuff. I put the the throttle cable on. So that's and obviously I've cleaned it all and lubricated. It's the original throttle cable. So I think the next thing to do now, while I'm waiting for the bodywork, is to get the clocks done. So I've got the clocks already stripped. I've got new faces. So I just need to, I need to paint the needles and dab the orange on the needles. But I need to build those clocks up and get the clocks on, and then I can get all the cables and the wiring loom done. So that's the next job, clocks. Oh, I think I might put the, I've got a lot of stuff back from my mate Clarky, who has a tub of evapor rust, and the rack that was on it had a little bit of rust on it, not a massive amount, but I didn't want to go to all the hassle of getting it re-chromed because it would take forever and cost a fortune. So Clarky's just dropped it in his bucket of evapor rust for a few days for me, and it's come out really well. So that's the original rack, which I think is going to look great on here. Well, it was on here anyway. Was it? Yeah. Yeah. And that goes on here. So that's going to look good on here. In fact, we could probably stick it on now. You get carried away, don't you? You get carried away, so I do. 14 or 13. Oh yeah, my lovely dome nuts have arrived. Lovely chrome dome nuts to go on here and on the bottoms. So they might as well go on while we're here. Yeah, dome nuts. So that locates in here. Yeah. That's it. And these are, these are quite weird. These are them 10mm fine. Yeah, and I think these are the ones that, these were the ones that were on it. 10mm fine. I don't think these are original Suzuki ones, but then it's an accessory rack, so it's not surprising that these aren't Suzuki stamped. Well, that's what they are. But there's inked, so that'll do. Right, so what's that, 13? No, of course it's not, it's 14. if you remember, these are the bolt holes that I snapped the tap off in. And then Paul at work had to put some weld on it and get it out for me, which he did. So that's because it's a 10mm fine, and it's a 10mm fine tap I was running through, a brand new 10mm fine tap, and of course I snapped it. So that's been repaired properly. It looks really good on there now. And then we'll just knit these up. I think we'll put another washer on these first. Because the thread's quite long, and that goes on there, and then there's a donut that goes on top to cap it off. So that goes on first. Yep. And then we've got the donut, chrome donut, to finish it off. There you go, that looks great. Yep, even if I say it myself, that looks good. Same on this side. Put another washer on it first, so it's not the nut rubbing directly on the rack. Some washer. So the rack's actually sandwiched now with the washer either side before the shop. Get one of my nice new shiny donuts. Put that on there. Boom. Yeah, that's coming together. Let's see what it looks like with the seat on. Yeah, I need to do something with that, but not what, just wants cleaning. Yep, it's starting to look like the TS400. I've got the exhaust as well, so I'm going to put the, now I've got the wheels on, I can get rid of the jack from under the engine, and I can put the exhaust on. So that should be interesting. The exhaust is all powder coated. Oh, there's another example of Clarkie's evapor rust on the rear light bracket. There was quite a lot of rust pitting on that, and he's just dumped that in straight into his evapor rust bucket for a couple of days, and it's come up lovely. So it's good enough for me. Might not be everyone's cup of tea. They might insist on re-chroming everything, but at the end of the day it's a dirt bike, so I'm more than happy with that. Anyway, stop waffling, Higgs. Turn the camera off. Right, here we are, back again on the TS400. So I've had a bit of a delay and a bit of a setback because I've been doing some paintwork on the roof of the Sierra. So that's robbed the garage for a few days. But in the meantime, I think you saw most of the stuff I was doing, but I've managed to put the rack on. That's been dipped in my mate's evapor rust tank for a week, so it's not been re-chromed. It's just been made as good as we possibly can whilst keeping it original. So I don't want to re-chrome that. I'm just going to leave it. I'll give it a bit more polishing, but that's how I'm going to keep it. So this is the other side that I didn't show you the other day. So the battery's all back in, and you can see the airbox and the CDI unit and the oil tank. That's all in, and you can see that the engine from this side, that's all good to go. And more importantly, the forks. So I finished off the forks and I fitted the front wheel, which I might have told you before, but I can't remember. So there, but I'd already got the top yokes ready with the handlebars and the cables on it, waiting for the forks to arrive. So I've dropped the handlebars and the top yokes on, and I've also reconditioned the clocks. So I've put new clock faces on it, I've painted the needles and painted the tips, so they look quite good. And in actual fact, now I've actually connected the battery up, turn it on, even the neutral light works. So happy days. So we're getting somewhere now with that. So it's starting to look like a motorbike. Yeah, so the forks are on, so that's good. Obviously I can't do much with the electrics at the moment because I'm still waiting for the headlamp bowl and the headlamp ears. But as soon as that comes back, I'll steer into that. I have put the seat latch on, which is a real bitch of a job to do. That's all been re-zinced, the spring and everything, and it just clamps it in position on the frame. The pinching that bolt there holds the pivot wherever you clamp it, so you have to put the seat on. So I've temporarily refitted the seat just to get the position right for that. So anyway, that's all done and that's all good, but it's starting to look good on the handlebars now and everything else. I'm starting to tidy all the wires up. I'm going to put the cables on, but I've got a few more bits of zinking to do. So this is the front of the exhaust and the ring of the exhaust that screws the front pipe to. So this bolts to the barrel and then it screws to the front pipe. I'm just going to take these footrests to work and just vapor blast the dirt off that. And this is the old throttle clutch cable, and it doesn't come off. So obviously I could remove this clevis pin, but this is permanently attached to the cable. Now you don't get that with a new cable, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get my angle grinder, and I'm just going to have to put a little slit in there to get that cable out, and then I'm going to take this to work. I'm going to take this to work then, and I'm going to get this re-zinced. So a little grind to put in there to get that cable off, then I'm going to re-zinc that. Just going to get Paul to re-zinc that for me. We've got a little tank at work just to re-zinc the odd bits and pieces that miss out on the main zinking. So yeah, that's all good. Yeah, I think that's about all we've got to show you at the moment. So back on with it soon. Couple of nice little bits that Paul has just zinced for me. So that's the exhaust screw-on flange, and that's the end of the clutch cable. So I've had to slit that now to make that go on there, and that's gonna go on there. So yeah, just thought I'd show you a couple of those while we progress with it. Okay, so
5.
Okay, so it's really starting to come together now. Since I last videoed, as you can see, I've just put the exhaust on. So that was all those nicely zinced bits that Paul did for me, and the springs and all that kind of stuff. That's all on there now, and the clutch lever, that's on there now. So I put the clutch cable on and the re-zinced holder. So that's all on, and the clocks are all on. Front wheels on, and the front brake cable's on, and all that kind of stuff. So the forks are looking really nice now, so that's all looking good. Still obviously no bodywork, no headlamp ears and no headlamp, no bodywork, but that's starting to come together now. So yeah, I just wanted to show you the exhaust. Even the little spring that pulls it back towards the frame, that's been re-zinced, and the screws and washers there on the bash plate, the sump guard on that, rear footrest all re-zinced to put in place. The rack is on it now as well. So now I'm getting ready to put the carburetor on. So I've just finished rebuilding, or I'm just in the process of finishing rebuilding this. So So I've stripped it, taken it to work, vapor blasted it, cleaned it all out. I'm just going to put that back together. So I'll probably do another little video now of getting it all on. So, oh, wait up, the heater's coming on. So that's the carb on. Got the exhaust on. Just like the heater, we're almost ready to fire it up. Hey! See what I did there? Right. Don't fall over. Right, that'll do for the time being. Right, welcome back to HIGGSY's garage. I just wanted to show you this. This is the little Stinger tailpipe which we've made at work, because the original great big spark arresters look horrible on these bikes and I don't like them. So what I've done is I've made this to go on, and as you can see here, I've had to take the exhaust off and take all the powder coating off to get that to fit on, and then this is the original baffle, and then that's going to slide over the top, and I'm going to put like a captive nut in there and then bolt that on. So that's how I'm going to finish it off, rather than the big bulky spark arrestor. Right, here we are again, HIGGSY's Man Cave TS400. So as you can see, I've turned the bike around to face the right way, so I can now lift the rear wheel up and fit the chain and all the other ancillary stuff. So I can get I'll then be able to put the oil pump cover on and the sprocket cover on. So I've built the carb up, put that on, done all that, but however the throttle grip is pretty knackered. I mean, I've got the rubber here which I put on, but that's it's no good, because the actual plastic sleeve of the throttle tube is really knackered and it's all smashed up, and when I put the sleeve on, it just grips the handlebars and it makes it really stiff to turn. So I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to try and get myself a new throttle tube. I've tried a Kawasaki one, that doesn't fit, so I'm going to try a few others until I get this right, and there's no point putting that on until it's right. But all the front end is all there now, all the forks are all looking really lovely. Again, just waiting for the bodywork really. But right, welcome back to HIGGSY's Man Cave on the TS400, and finally my bodywork has arrived from Dream Machine, so let's get it open and see what we've got. Wow, look at that. That is beautiful. It's like everything else in life, you get what you pay for. Dream Machine, not the cheapest, but in my opinion they're probably one of the best. So I'm going to put this out of the way. Look at that. Perfect. Right. Next job. Rear mudguard. Right, so I'm putting the rear mudguard on, and there's a few bolts that I'm not happy with zinced. They're not quite good enough, so I'm going to do what a lot of people do, is replace them with stainless steel bolts. The trouble is with stainless steel bolts, you get writing on the head and they don't look right. So that's quite simple. I've got the stainless steel bolts, and I just get the angle grinder with an abrasive disc on it. just very lightly grind off the writing, and here's the rest of them that I've already done. There's two great big ones which are 10mm fine, which are for the rack, which I'd already fitted, but I didn't like the bolts that were in it. So you just simply take these and then you just get on the buffing wheel. A bit labour intensive, but when you've got the time to do it, and you polish it up, and you get a lovely polished stainless bolt to go in the top. So that's going to go in there now. No writing on it, and it looks so much better than the original, which I'll show you. Like this. So I just buy stainless steel bolts like that with the writing on, and then you end up with nicely polished ones like that to replace it. Good as gold. There you go, top tip. Right, back on the TS400. So the Bodywork's arrived from Dream Machine. I've unpacked it and I've started putting a few bits and pieces on. So I've fitted the rear mudguard and the back light, as you can see. I've bolted all that up, and that's all looking quite good. So the back light's all on now, and round the front I've fitted the headlamp ears. So that's top yoke off with a clock, and I've managed to put the all the headlamp ears on. These things are made a bit of a mess of. There's a reflector that's supposed to go on there, which looks like this, and there's a rubber grommet behind it, but one of them wouldn't come off. So I tried heating it up with the blow lamp and melted the plastic rubber. So they're going to both stay off for the moment until I get to replace those. But the front mudguard's on, so that's all bolted up under there with the correct rubbers. So that's looking good. And headlamp bowls in. The wiring's all connected again. So just the headlight, and then tank, side panels, and the seat. So we're very nearly there now, getting in the on the last leg now. Right, welcome back to HIGGSY's Man Cave, TS400. So we're finally getting there now, final stages. So I've got the bodywork on, as you can see. I put the rear mudguard on. I've now fitted the side panels. I've put the headlamp ears on, front mudguard, headlamp bowl. I've still got to sort the headlamp out, still got to sort the side stand out and the gear lever. But I'm just going to drop the tank on now and see what it looks like finally with all the bodywork on. So here we go. Absolutely beautiful paintwork from Dream Machine. So let's stick this on and see how this looks. And try not to scratch it, which would be a bit annoying. Boom. There we go. And let's just put the seat on temporarily. In fact, we could put it on. Might as well put the pins on. Might as well drop the pins in, so they're in the right place as well. A bit dirty this, haven't cleaned it up that much. Although I've re-zinced the hinges and everything else. It should all be good to go. Don't scratch your new paintwork, David. Go. Right. Boom. Boom. That's it. There we go, all the bodywork done. Gotta be happy with that. Really pleased with that. It's starting to look like a bike. All we need to do now is put the fuel tap on, put the pipe on and fire it up. But we'll do that next time. Right, here we go again. So we're on the final chapter now. We're almost ready to fire it up. So I've done a few bits and pieces more. I've put the fuel tap on. So I'll put the fuel tap on there, connected it up and connected it to the carb, all that kind of stuff, tank and seats all there nicely now. Now I wasn't going to put indicators on this because I've got them, but the front indicators are particularly fiddly. And as you can see, I've put them on. But what happens is, the original indicators, this goes up, the threaded part goes all the way through there, and there's a black plastic piece which goes on there, and a bit of rubber on the back. And you can't get those indicators anymore with that massive long thread on. You can only get them with just about an inch of thread on the end, and a long shank. So I thought about it for a while, and what I've done was I completely dismantled the indicators, removed this shaft completely, put it in clamped it into my drill, clamped the drill in the vise, and got a hacksaw blade. So spun it up, and I've ground a groove in this polished chrome shaft there, a groove that's big enough to put a circlip on. Then I've rebuilt it all. I put a circlip on there which locks into that groove which I've created very nicely. Put a nice big washer on, and then on the inside, I don't know if you can see on the other side, probably not, but there's a great big rubber washer, and then the nut and bolt and all that kind of stuff. So I put them on, and I'm reasonably happy with that. I think that looks pretty decent. So connecting them up is going to be fairly straightforward, although I've got to put earth tabs on now, because these are the original earth tabs, which look as though the indicator wants to go through here, which is a bit silly because they never did. They went through there, but hey ho. So unless I've got it completely wrong, won't be the first time. So I put the indicators on. I'm quite happy with them. So I'm going to put the rear indicators on as well. Now the rear indicators, they bolt through these on here, but they have little dropper brackets which I haven't got. So I'm going to make them. So I've got some nice stainless steel strips, and I'm going to drill these stainless steel strips so they fit on there, and then I'm going to trim them down and grind them back and make them nice and semicircular there, drill them again and put the indicators on. So ultimately the indicators are going to be about there. Wire them up, get them working. Also I'm going to put my number plate on, get that on there, finish off, and then finally fire it up. So let's get on with that. Okay, so here we are, the finished product. A couple of little bits and pieces that I might do in the next few months, but basically the bike's done. So all I've done since the last little bit clip is I've fitted the indicators. So I've made the little brackets. I made the little brackets to stick out from there. I fitted the indicators on there, and I've, as I explained, I've made the front indicators fit with a bit of homemade engineering. I don't have a lathe, I don't have a milling machine, but I've just put a groove in those ones and put circlips on them, and they seem to work fine. So here we are. This is the finished bike, the finished TS400. Again, a couple of little things missing. The indicators, not the indicators, the reflectors, which I've got coming. So that'll be a 2-minute job to put on them, but that bodywork looks beautiful. The engine looks great. The exhaust looks good. I like the little the Stinger tailpipe, which is like what the early TS400s had. That's an exact sort of copy of the early TS400s. The later ones had the horrible spark arrestor, but I much prefer the style of the Stinger style. and you can see the detail there of all the wheel. Yeah, all in all, pretty pleased with that. So there we go. All the detail on the front wheel, as you've probably already seen. I'm quite pleased with that. That looks pretty good. Headlight back on, indicators on. Clock's on. Let's turn the ignition on. And we'll try the indicators. Yes, I put a buzzing indicator flash unit on it because I like them. Because I always ride around with my indicators flashing because I forgot to turn them off on these old classics, and that helps me. So that's my preference. So there we go. There's the finished bike. Let's just see if it starts up. Okay, so TS400 final chapter. The bike's all finished, looking lovely. A couple of little bits of jobs to do later on in the next few months. I'd love to tell you that I was going to start it up for the first time on video, but I'm not that daft. I wouldn't do that just in case it didn't run. Made me look an idiot. But so yes, I have started. It does run, and it runs sweet. So let's have a listen, see how it runs. There we go, TS400 done. Thanks for watching.